He promised he would protect me, but his love turned cold overnight. Then I heard whispers I was never meant to hear. If she stays here, we'll lose everything. They tried to force me to sign away my house. They thought they could take everything from me. But they didn't see the secret plan I had waiting. A plan that would change everything. Hello, dear listeners. Before I begin my story, I would be very happy if you subscribe and hit the like button. Please write in the comments which city or country you are listening from. Now enjoy the story. I always believed a home breaks quietly, slowly, like the soft peeling of old paint on a porch rail. But mine broke in a single sound. A single sentence? Spoken not by a stranger, but by the man I raised with these hands. It happened on a Tuesday morning. The kind of morning that smells like warm bread and distant rain. The kind of morning where memories feel heavier than groceries. I was stirring oatmeal, moving slow like I usually do these days, humming an old hymn. No words, just the tune, because sometimes humming is the only thing that keeps a heart steady. My son, Michael, walked into the kitchen. 39 years old. Tall, tired eyes, shoulders hunched like life been pressing on him harder lately. I felt something strange in his walk that morning. A stiffness, a hesitation. But I brushed it away. Mothers do that. We brush away warning signs the same way. We brush crumbs off a table. He sat down, rubbing his face. I smiled the way I always smile at him, the way a mother's love don't fade even when tired bones protest. You sleep well? I asked, voice soft, steady. Careful, always careful, ever since he married her. He didn't answer. He just stared at the table like it held a secret he didn't want to say. And then he exhaled, sharp. Heavy, like the air had been locked inside him for weeks. Mom, we need to talk. Those 4 words. They have opened graves and closed homes. I felt something cold in my chest, but I stayed quiet. When you get to my age, silence becomes your armor. Michael lifted his head and I saw it. The look. The one a child gives when he's already made a decision without you. Danielle wants you to move out. The spoon fell from my hand. I didn't even hear it hit the floor. Move out? From the home I paid for? The home where he took his first steps? The home where his father held him for the last time before that heart attack took him? My throat tightened, but I swallowed the pain like hot medicine. I don't understand, I whispered. He looked away again, jaw clenched. She thinks, it's time for us to have our own space. Our own space. Funny how quick people erase the hands that built the very walls they lean on. I tried to breathe slow, but something inside me trembled. I spoke gently, because I always did. Gentleness was my only language with him. Michael, I have nowhere else to go. His face softened for 1 second. 1 tiny second, like the boy I raised was trying to come up for air. But then something dark washed over his expression. A shadow, a weight. I know, but Danielle says... There it was again. Danielle says, that woman had opinions about everything from how I folded laundry to how I breathed too loud. I stayed quiet for months, giving her space, respecting her home, giving them privacy, cooking dinner, minding my business. But nothing was enough. Nothing ever is for someone who never wanted you there in the first place. I steadied my shaking hands on the table. And what do you say, Michael? He flinched like the question hurt him. He whispered, I just want peace. Peace. Peace for him meant quieting my existence. My heart felt like it slipped down to my feet. Then he said the words I will never forget. She's my wife, Mom. I have to choose her. Choose her. Choose her over me. The room spun just a little, but I kept my face still. Old women learn to absorb heartbreak without showing the cracks. When I didn't speak, he continued, voice low. We talked about it. We agreed. You can move into a senior place. Just for a while. Only until we settle things between us. Senior place? A facility? A room with a window smaller than my hope? I raised this man. I fed him from scraps, cut coupons to buy him shoes, stayed up nights through fevers, worked 2 jobs after his father died, all so he could feel safe. He promised he'd always protect me. He said it at 16 when he held my hand at the funeral. He said it at 21 when he hugged me before his first job. He said it at 36 when he convinced me to move in here after my hip surgery. But Tuesday morning, He looked me in my eyes and pushed me out. For her? I felt my heart fold quietly in my chest. Michael, I whispered, I have never been a burden to you. He stood up. Not in anger, not in love, just in cold decision. It's final, Mom. Final. Like a sentence. Like a door closing on the last bit of light. He left the kitchen without looking back, and I stood there, one hand on the counter, staring at the empty doorway where my son disappeared. Like a stranger passing by, I didn't cry. Women my age save tears for the night, when nobody can hear the hurt. Instead, I picked up the spoon from the floor, washed it slowly, placed it gently back in the drawer. Because sometimes when your world breaks, the only thing you can do is finish the last thing you were doing. But inside me, something shifted. A small voice whispered from deep in my chest. Something is wrong. This ain't just her idea. There is more behind this. Something hidden. Something dark. And that was the beginning of the mystery. That Tuesday morning didn't end when Michael walked out. It followed me, stayed in my shadow, sat in every room I entered. I kept moving slow around the house, touching the walls like they were old friends about to leave me too. Every picture frame felt heavier, like it was storing memories nobody wanted anymore. But there was something else, something strange about the way he said it. She thinks it's time. She said we need space. She wants you out. But not once did he say why. Not once did he say what changed. Not once did he say what I did wrong. And that absence was its own mystery. By noon, I heard Danielle's heels clicking through the hallway, sharp, fast, irritated, like her shoes were always in a hurry to leave the room I was standing in. She didn't greet me. She rarely did. She walked straight to the kitchen, opened the fridge, slammed it shut, muttered under her breath, and then said loud enough for me to hear, "Something has to give." Something in her tone stung. It wasn't frustration. It was fear mixed with determination. A woman hiding something behind her voice. I didn't ask her anything. Women my age don't ask, we observe. I watched her grab her purse and rush outside. Through the window, I saw her get into her car, start the engine, stop it. Then just sit there, holding her phone tight but not making a call. She looked scared. Not of me. Of something. Or someone else. She stayed in that car for 10 minutes, tapping her finger on the wheel, looking around as if someone was watching her. Then suddenly she drove off fast. A strange thought whispered in my chest. This ain't about me. Something else is happening. I tried to sit down in the living room, but my spirit felt restless, like there was a storm coming I couldn't see yet. Then I noticed something. A letter. Folded. Plain. Sitting on the small table near the stairs. Tucked halfway under a magazine like someone forgot to hide it properly. It wasn't there yesterday. I know because I clean that table every night before I sleep. Slow, careful. The way old hands move when they're trying to find purpose. I leaned forward, picked it up. It had Michael's name on the front. But the handwriting, it wasn't his. It wasn't Danielle's either. The writing looked rushed, uneven, like the person was scared or in a hurry. I felt something deep inside me tighten. Should I open it? Should I respect boundaries even when mine weren't respected? My fingers shook slightly, not from age, but from something I hadn't felt in years. A warning. The kind of warning that crawls up your spine, slow and quiet. Just then I heard the front door open. Michael. I slid the letter quickly under the magazine again. He looked tense, hair messy, shirt wrinkled like he'd been pulling on it. Mom, you still here? He asked. Still here, as if I'd disappeared already, as if I wasn't standing right in front of him. Yes, I said softly. He nodded, eyes darting around the room like he was searching for something he lost but didn't want me to know he lost it. Danielle said she left her mail somewhere. You see anything? Mail. So that letter was important. I kept my voice steady. The table's the same as it was. He checked quickly, flipping the magazine. And there it was. He froze when he saw the envelope. For a moment, he looked scared. Real scared. He grabbed it fast, shoved it in his pocket, and exhaled like someone just poured cold water over him. Everything okay? I asked gently. He didn't answer. He just said, "We're going out tonight? Don't wait up." He walked away before I could ask anything else. But something in his walk, something in his shoulders, something in his silence, it didn't belong to him. It belonged to a man under pressure. A man hiding something. A man being controlled. Danielle came home past midnight. She smelled of strong perfume, not hers. Her eyes were red, but not from crying. From staying awake, thinking, worrying. She walked right into their bedroom and shut the door. I heard whispers. Sharp. Fast. Tense. Then a muffled sound, like glass hitting a nightstand too hard. Then silence. Long, heavy silence. That night, I slept with one thing on my mind. Whatever is happening, it's not about me being a burden. It's about something they don't want me to know. The next morning, the proof arrived. The next morning didn't start with sunlight. It started with voices. Soft at first, then sharper, then a sudden quiet, the kind that tells you the conversation ended because someone heard footsteps. I pushed myself up slow, let my feet find the floor, and opened my bedroom door just an inch. I heard Danielle whispering in the kitchen, her voice tight, like she was squeezing words through clenched teeth. "No, I told you already. She can't find out. Not yet." A pause. "I don't care what he said. We stick to the plan." The plan. My heart pressed hard inside my chest. Her tone wasn't annoyed. It was strategic, focused, like someone managing a secret. I stepped out into the hallway, leaning on the wall for balance. Her voice dropped lower, but I still caught one more sentence before she sensed I was near. "Once she's gone, everything gets easier." Gone. Not moved. Not settled. Gone. That word hit me colder than winter wind. I shuffled into the kitchen slow, not to hide, but to give her time to decide how guilty she wanted to look. She jumped when she saw me. "Oh, you're up early," she said, voice strained but trying to be normal. I didn't answer right away. I looked at her face, eyes restless, hands shaky, phone already flipped face down on the counter, like it held a truth she didn't want me to read. "Morning," I said softly. She forced a smile. "Sleep okay?" Some nights are heavier than others. She looked away. It was subtle, but I saw something flicker across her face. Guilt mixed with fear. Or fear mixed with guilt. Sometimes they share the same skin. She grabbed her keys fast. "I gotta run." Doctor's appointment. She wasn't dressed like someone going to a doctor. Full makeup. Hair curled. Perfume too strong for a morning visit. But I didn't say anything. Women my age don't accuse. We collect. And the collection was growing. As soon as she left, Michael walked out of their bedroom, eyes puffy, shirt half tucked, moving like a man who didn't sleep enough because truth kept tugging at him in the dark. "Morning," he murmured as he poured himself coffee. His hands shook. Not a little. A lot. "Everything okay, Michael?" I asked quietly. He froze for half a second, then nodded too fast. "Yeah, just tired." But tired doesn't make a man look like he's carrying a secret that burns his skin. I noticed something on his wrist. A light scratch. Fresh. Red, the kind you get from grabbing something too fast. Or someone. "Rough night?" I asked gently. He blinked. A long blink. Then whispered, I don't want to talk about it." I nodded, giving him comfort even when he wasn't offering me a home to stay in. He started to walk away, but then I said something that made him stop in his tracks. "I heard voices last night." His back stiffened. He didn't turn around when he answered. "We argue sometimes. That's normal." But his voice wasn't normal. It was hollow, like someone else's words were sitting inside it. He walked out the front door before I could speak again. The house felt colder the moment it shut. I stood in the quiet, just me, the refrigerator hum, and the memory of his trembling hands. Then I remembered the letter, the one with the rushed handwriting. I walked slowly to the table and lifted the magazine again. It was gone. Not misplaced, not moved. Gone. Someone took it sometime between midnight and morning. I checked every corner of the table. Checked the trash can. Checked the drawer. Nothing. I stood there breathing slow, thinking. Danielle left first this morning. Michael left second. If Michael had taken it earlier, he would have thrown it away. But he didn't, which meant Danielle took it. And if she took it, she didn't want him to read it. Or she didn't want me to read it. Either way, it was a clue. A quiet one, but a clue. Around noon, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I shuffled to the door, holding the frame as I opened it. A woman stood there. Thin, nervous eyes. Hair tied in a messy bun like she'd been rushing for hours. She held a clipboard. "Mrs. Thompson?" she asked. "Yes," I answered. She swallowed hard. "I'm from the county office. We received a request to update your contact information." County office? I never filed anything with the county office. Not recently. I frowned softly. "What request?" She checked her papers. "It says here you signed a form last week to transfer medical and legal responsibility to your son and daughter-in-law." My breath stopped. I signed no such thing. The woman looked confused. She checked the paper again. "Ma'am, your signature is right here." She flipped the clipboard around. And there it was. My name, signed in shaky handwriting. But not my handwriting. Not even close. Someone forged it. Someone used my name. Someone submitted legal paperwork. Without me knowing. My heart beat slow but heavy, each thump a warning. "Who submitted this?" I asked quietly. She checked the bottom of the form. "It was delivered by your daughter-in-law." I felt the floor tilt beneath me. "Danielle. The same woman who wanted me gone. The same woman who whispered about plans. The same woman who hid letters. The same woman who never wanted me in this house. She wasn't just pushing me out. She was building something much darker." The woman at the door bit her lip. "If you didn't sign this, then we need to talk." I stepped aside to let her in, my heart steady but heavy. Something deep inside me whispered, this wasn't betrayal anymore. This was danger. The county woman stepped inside slow, like she was entering a place where truth had been sleeping too long. She walked to the living room, holding the clipboard close to her chest. Her hands trembled just a little, not from fear of me, but from something in the paperwork she carried. "Let's sit," she said softly. I nodded and lowered myself into the armchair, taking a moment to steady my breathing. Age teaches you many things: how to wait, how to listen, how to feel danger even when nobody says its name. She sat across from me. "My name is Lily," she said quietly. "And I need to ask something important. Did you authorize anyone to handle your accounts? Medical decisions or legal matters?" "No," I answered. My voice wasn't loud, but it was firm, the kind of firmness a mother carries in her bones. Lily nodded slowly like she already knew. "That's what I was afraid of." She placed the clipboard on the coffee table and pointed to the bottom of the form. "This signature isn't yours," she said. "It's been traced. You can see the pressure marks, pressed too hard on the curves, too light on the straight lines. Someone tried to mimic shaky handwriting, to make it look like you signed it." My chest felt cold. Not from fear, from clarity. For months, something had been shifting in this house. Whispers, tension, arguments behind doors, Danielle's sudden sweetness around strangers but sharpness around me, Michael's guilt, the letter, the plan. Now all of it started to fit into one long, dark shadow. I kept my voice steady. "Why would someone do this?" Lily exhaled, twisting her fingers. "There are a few reasons people forge these forms. Sometimes for medical decisions. Sometimes for property disputes, or," she hesitated, "or for financial access." My whole world paused. Financial, money. I leaned back slow, letting the idea settle. All my life, I never had much. Worked 2 jobs. Saved where I could. Paid off this house. Kept a small emergency account for medical needs. Burial costs and things an old woman shouldn't worry about. Michael knew about that account. Danielle didn't, or at least she wasn't supposed to. I spoke softly. "What kind of access?" Lily looked at me with eyes that had seen too many stories like this. Too many seniors tricked by people they trusted. "This form would give your son and daughter-in-law the right to manage your bank accounts, your property paperwork, and decisions about where you live." My fingers tightened around the armrest. "So they could move me," I whispered. "Yes. and sell this house without my consent. Her silence was the answer. A slow ache crawled up my chest. Not heartbreak, not yet. This was something quieter, something older. Realization, the kind that comes late in life, when you finally see truth standing there without its mask. Lily leaned forward. Mrs. Thompson, do you feel safe here? I didn't answer immediately. I looked around the living room. The curtains I sewed myself. The old books I collected. The picture frames. The clock ticking slow and steady like an old friend. Then I looked at the hallway where Michael used to run as a boy. Where he used to hold my hand. Where he used to say, I'll protect you. But protection had turned into silence. Into secrets. Into signatures I never wrote. I looked back at Lily. I feel watched. Her expression changed. Empathic, steady, professional, but human. That's enough, she said gently. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small blue card. This is my office number. And this, she slid a second card toward me, softer, more discreet, is the elder safety line. Open 24 hours. I didn't touch the card yet. Touching it would mean admitting something I wasn't ready to say out loud. Mrs. Thompson, she whispered, if someone is moving things behind your back, that's not your fault. I closed my eyes. And in that quiet moment, a memory rose inside me. Years ago, when Michael was 8, he brought home a broken toy from a friend's house. I asked him where he got it. He said, I found it. But his voice had the same tremble it has now. I didn't scold him. I just said, truth gets heavy if you hide it. That night, he returned the toy. I wondered, when did truth start getting heavy again for him? Lily stood up. I'm going to file a temporary hold on this document. That will protect you for a few days, but... She hesitated. Your daughter-in-law may notice. I nodded slowly. She already suspects I know something, I said. Lily looked like she wanted to stay longer, but she had a job to do. If anything changes, anything, call me. I walked her to the door. As she stepped out, she turned to me and said something that lingered long after she left. Sometimes the people we raised become strangers when money gets involved. Don't blame yourself. I closed the door. The house felt heavier, quieter, darker. I walked to the kitchen, slow, one step at a time, and made myself a cup of tea. The water boiled too loud in the silence. As I lifted the cup, the front door opened. Danielle. Early, too early. Her eyes scanned the room like she was checking if something was out of place. Her purse was clutched too tight. Her smile, fake. Did someone come by? She asked softly. Not kindly. Carefully. Like she was searching for a missing piece of her own plan. I sipped my tea slow. Yes, I said. Her smile faded for a second. A crack. A brief, sharp crack. Oh, who? County office. Her hand froze around her purse strap. She blinked twice, fast, the way guilty people do when they're calculating. Oh, probably just a routine check. Routine check. She said it too quickly. Too rehearsed. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. For the first time, I felt something other than hurt. I felt certainty. Danielle wasn't trying to move me out for space. She was trying to move me out to get access. Access to my house, access to my accounts, access to a life she did not build. And Michael, my boy, he was standing in the middle of it, drowning in guilt, too tangled to speak truth. I placed my teacup down carefully and looked at her with eyes that had survived. Too much to be fooled. Did you submit any paperwork with my name on it? I asked. Her whole face changed. The softness disappeared. The sweetness vanished. And for the first time since she married my son, I saw her real expression. Cold, sharp, threatened. I don't know what you're talking about, she said. But her voice betrayed her. It shook. Just once. Just enough. She turned quickly and walked down the hallway, her heels hitting the floor too hard. Each step a confession she didn't say in words. I sat alone in the kitchen, listening to her footsteps fade. Something deep inside me whispered, the betrayal isn't coming. It's already here. And the mystery behind it was bigger than I thought. For the next 2 days, the house felt like a tight room with no windows, air moving. but never enough to breathe fully. Michael barely spoke to me. He came home late, left early, kept his head down, avoided my eyes. Every time I saw him, I felt something in him fighting something else. Guilt pressing against obligation, truth pushing against fear. Danielle, on the other hand, stayed close. Too close. She hovered around the hallway, checked the mail before I could reach the door, kept her phone hidden under her sleeve, whispering into it when she thought I wasn't near. Her whispering grew faster every day, and every day she said the same words at least once. She's still here. She didn't sign anything. We need another way. Another way. I didn't know what that meant yet, but the way she said it made my stomach feel cold. Every night I locked my bedroom door, quietly, without making noise. Not because I thought someone would hurt me, but because I knew someone was planning something. On the third night, something happened that sealed the mystery. The house was quiet past midnight when I woke to a faint clicking sound. Not loud, not sharp, just careful. I sat up slow, letting my old bones adjust, and listened. Click, click, click. It was coming from the living room. I reached for my cane, holding it like a friend, and opened my door inch by inch. The hallway was dark except for a faint glow from the living room, the kind of glow a phone screen makes in the dark. I walked slow, my steps soft, my breath held low in my chest. When I reached the corner, I saw her. Danielle, sitting on the couch, lights off, phone in one hand, a small folder in the other, the same pale yellow color the county lady carried, the same folder containing the forged documents. She was whispering into her phone. No, the paperwork didn't go through. She talked to someone. A pause. I told you I handled it. I didn't know the county would show up in person. Her voice was tight with anger, but also with something else. Fear. I stayed behind the corner, waiting, watching. She's old, but she's not stupid, she hissed. She's starting to ask questions. And if she keeps digging... Silence. Then, the words that made the mystery clear. No more waiting. If Michael won't push it, then I will. My heart stopped for one long second. Push it. Push what? Push who? She lowered her voice even more. The house is worth $280,000. The bank accounts add another 70. We can't let this slip. My chest tightened. It wasn't about care. It wasn't about space. It wasn't about family tension. It was about money. Cold money. Money she never earned. Money she wanted to claim. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Then I heard footsteps from the hallway. Michael. He walked into the dim light, hair messy, eyes half tired, until he saw Danielle sitting there. What are you doing up? He asked, voice soft but heavy. Danielle froze, slid the folder under a pillow. Nothing. Just bills. Bills. She smiled like she was used to lying, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. And Michael saw that. Because his face changed. Only slightly, but enough. What papers are those? He asked quietly. She stood fast, too fast, forced a laugh. Nothing you need to worry about. He cut her off. Danielle, move your hand. His tone wasn't loud, but it was sharp, a tone I hadn't heard since. He was 17 and stood up, against a school counselor who tried to blame him for something he didn't do. Her jaw clenched. Michael, don't start. He stepped closer. What did you do? She backed up a little, clutching the pillow where she hid the folder. I did what you wouldn't, she snapped. I tried to fix things. Michael looked at her, really looked, like a man finally seeing the truth he'd been avoiding. His voice dropped low. You forged her signature. Danielle's eyes widened, but only for a moment. So what? She shot back. She's barely managing the house. She's getting older. We're the ones taking care of everything. Michael shook his head. You're not taking care of her, he whispered. You're trying to get rid of her. Her voice rose, sharper, defensive. I'm trying to save us. We're drowning, Michael. The debt. He looked away, jaw tightening. Debt. The word hit the air like a heavy stone. Danielle kept talking. If we can sell the house, clear what we owe, start fresh. He cut her off again. At the cost of my mother? Her eyes flashed with anger. Or panic. Or both. She won't even be around much longer. Michael flinched like she slapped him. I felt something sharp twist inside me. He whispered, voice shaking, "Don't say that." "Don't you ever say that?" For a moment, just a moment, I saw my son again. The little boy who once told me, "I'll protect you." But Danielle leaned closer to him, her voice low, icy. "If you don't do something, I will." He stared at her, and she stared back. Two people standing on opposite sides of a truth that could no longer be hidden. Then she whispered one last line. The line that ended the mystery and opened the betrayal. "If she stays here, we lose everything." Michael closed his eyes, the weight of her words sinking into him like anchors. He didn't say anything. He didn't fight her. He didn't defend me. He just stood there. And in that silent standing, I saw the truth. He had already chosen her. Even before Tuesday morning. Even before he told me to move. Even before the first forged paper. The betrayal wasn't coming. It had already started. I stepped back into the shadows before they could see me. Because sometimes, the heart breaks better when nobody sees it happen. Back in my room, I closed the door gentle and slow. I sat on the edge of my bed. My hands shook for the first time in months, not from age, but from the truth finally spilling out of its hiding place. Danielle wanted the house, the money, the control. Michael wanted peace, even if that peace came at the cost of his mother. The mystery was over. The betrayal was next. I should have known something was wrong the moment my son started avoiding my eyes. A mother can feel distance long before it's spoken out loud. It settles in the air, thin at first, then thick enough to choke on. That evening, when he came by to talk, I had already prepared myself for more hurt, just not the kind he brought with him. He stood in my living room like he didn't belong to it anymore. Like the walls that raised him, the floors that carried him were suddenly unfamiliar. His wife didn't come this time, just him. And maybe that's what made it worse, because without her here, he could have been honest. He could have been my boy again. But he wasn't. He sat across from me, tapping his knee, breathing too fast. The kind of breathing people do when they're about to confess something or destroy something. I didn't ask him to sit. Didn't ask if he wanted tea. Didn't offer anything. I just waited. He finally spoke, voice low. "Mama, I need you to hear me out." That was the first mini-hook in the air. The kind that turns the heart cold before anything else does. "I'm listening," I said softly. He swallowed, eyes moving everywhere except toward mine. "It's not just about space," he said. It's about ownership." Ownership. A strange, sharp word. A word that shouldn't exist between a mother and her child. I frowned gently. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, actually looked scared but still kept going. "I talked to a lawyer." A lawyer? Something inside my chest twisted hard, slow enough to hurt, fast enough to shock. The room suddenly felt too quiet. Too still. "A lawyer?" I repeated. "Yes," he whispered. "We needed to know, what's legally ours." Legally ours? My breath left me in one long, heavy push. And just like that, the betrayal wasn't hiding anymore. It was sitting right in front of me, wearing my son's voice. He finally forced himself to look at me, and the guilt in his eyes was louder than any words. "Mama, the house. We want to put it in our name." I didn't answer. I couldn't. My tongue felt heavy, my chest tight. He rushed on like ripping a bandage off skin that wasn't ready. "She said it's the only way to protect our future. You're getting older. Anything can happen. Doctors, medical bills, nursing care. We can't risk losing the house if something goes wrong." There it was. The real reason. Not love. Not concern. Not care. Fear. Money. Control. My house, my life's work, had turned into a risk for them. I spoke slowly, because my voice wasn't sure it could carry itself. "So you're taking it from me?" He shook his head quickly. No. Not taking, just transferring the deed. For safety. For safety. Safety for him. For her? Not for me. I leaned back in my chair, feeling every year of my age settle into my bones. All the mystery. All the strange behavior. all the quiet conversations between them. It all lined up now, clear as day. They weren't helping me move out. They were clearing the house, so they could claim it clean. He softened his tone, but that softness cut deeper than anger ever could. You'll still have a place to live, Mama. We're not throwing you away. We just need to make sure our life is protected. Our life, not your life. His voice grew smaller, but not kinder. She already filled the paperwork. You just have to sign. She filled the paperwork. The woman who smiled sweet and cut sharp. My heart burned, not loud, not dramatic, just a slow, steady ache. The kind that drains a person drop by drop. I looked at him. Really looked at him. My boy, I whispered. I gave you everything I had. How did my home become something you want to protect from me? He flinched. Good. Some truths need to sting. It's not like that, he said quickly. You're misunderstanding. But I wasn't. Not anymore. His voice, his body language, the lawyer, the papers, this wasn't confusion. This was intention. A soft, cracked laugh slipped out of me, not from humor, but disbelief. So that apartment you found for me, that was never about my comfort. He looked down. I continued, each word slow enough to tremble. It was about clearing the house, so you could take it. Silence. Guilty, heavy silence. He didn't deny it. Didn't correct me. Didn't say I was wrong. Because I wasn't. It hit me then. The real betrayal wasn't the house. It wasn't the move. It wasn't the lawyer. It was the moment my son started seeing me as a burden instead of a blessing. A threat instead of a mother. The moment he chose protection for himself. Over protection for me. I felt my throat tighten. When did I stop being family to you? He whispered. You didn't. Things just changed. No, I said quietly. You changed. His eyes filled, not with regret, not with love, just frustration. Mama, why can't you understand we're building a future? We need this house. It's the only stable thing we have. I nodded slowly. A stable thing, I repeated. Not a home. Not memories. Not legacy. A thing. He reached into his bag and slid a document across the coffee table. The deed transfer. His voice cracked just slightly. Please, Mama, just sign it. The paper sat there between us, looking small but carrying the weight of every mistake he didn't know he was making. I stared at it, then at him, and the truth settled in fully, quietly, painfully. He hadn't come to ask. He came to take. The betrayal wasn't revealed in one moment. It revealed itself piece by piece, word by word, choice by choice, until it finally stood in front of me, undeniable, unforgiving, and wearing the face of the boy I once held in my arms. The paper lay between us like a crack in the floor, thin, quiet, and ready to swallow everything if I stepped wrong. He kept pushing it toward me with his fingertips too gently. The kind of gentle people use when they know they're doing something wrong but want to soften the damage. Just sign it, Mama, he whispered. As soon as we get it transferred, we'll help you settle into your new place. My new place. Such a simple phrase. Such a cruel meaning. I closed my eyes for a moment, long enough to hold back the sting in them. When I opened them again, he was still there. Still waiting. Still choosing convenience over conscience. Tell me something, I said quietly. My voice barely rose above the hum of the refrigerator. When she asked you to do this, did you try to protect me? That question hung in the air like a tear that refused to fall. He blinked, taken aback. I am protecting you. No, I cut in gently, shaking my head. You're protecting your future. I'm asking about mine. He looked away, jaw tightening. And that was enough of an answer. A mother can read silence better than words. He didn't fight for me. Not once. Not even a little. Maybe that was the worst part. Not the betrayal itself, but how easy it was for him. I leaned back slowly, feeling the old couch hold me the way nothing else in my life seemed to anymore. You talked to a lawyer, I murmured. You planned all this without me. You found me a small apartment. Not because I need peace, but because you need space. You asked me to pack up a lifetime like it's a weekend bag. He swallowed hard. Mama, please, don't make this harder than it has to be. I looked up at him and a thin, tired smile touched my face. I'm not the one making it hard, baby. The word baby slipped out before I could stop it. A quiet reminder of the boy he used to be, but he didn't flinch. Didn't soften. Didn't remember. He just stared down at the paper. Sign it, he repeated. I stared at him. This grown man with my eyes but a stranger's heart. And something inside me shifted. Not anger, not rage, just a deep, heavy grief. A slow collapse of something sacred. I saw the little boy who used to bring me flowers from the yard fade into the man who now brought me papers to sign me out of my own home. Every memory, every moment, every tiny piece of motherhood felt like it was being pushed out the door too. My voice trembled as I spoke. Do you know what hurts the most? He finally looked at me. It's not the house, I said. It's not the papers, not the moving, not even the fact that you planned this behind my back. He waited. It's that you didn't sit with me first. Didn't ask what I wanted. Didn't ask if I was scared or lonely or ready. You just made a decision that told me loud and clear, you think my life is already over. His shoulders dropped, but he didn't apologize. Didn't reach out. Didn't say he was wrong. Instead, he whispered, we're only doing what's best for us. Us. Them. Not me. Not anymore. I nodded slowly. I understand. He seemed relieved, as if the storm had passed. But it hadn't. Not even close. Because the truth hit me all at once, sharp and undeniable. They weren't just taking my house. They were taking the one place in this world where I was still somebody. Where I wasn't old. Where I wasn't in the way. Where I wasn't replaceable. He reached for a pen in his bag and placed it beside the papers. There, he said gently. Just sign on the last page. I looked down. That's when I noticed something. Something small. Something easy to miss. Something that turned my heartbeat into a slow, steady drum. The document didn't just transfer ownership. It removed me completely. No rights. No share. No say. No protection. Nothing. It wasn't just a transfer. It was an erasure. My breath caught. My voice came out thin but sharp enough to cut through his certainty. You want me to give up everything, with nothing in return. He stiffened. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. A long silence stretched between us. A silence older than both of us. A silence full of everything a mother never wants to believe about her own child. I picked up the paper with shaking hands. Not to sign it, but to really see it. The writing at the bottom froze me. The buyer's name. Her name. Not his. Not theirs. Hers. My heart dropped like a stone in deep water. Oh, I whispered, breathless. It's not even you who wants this house. His mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. She said it makes more sense, he murmured. It's in her name? My voice cracked. You're giving my home to her? He stayed silent. That silence was my second major hook. The moment the betrayal wasn't just revealed, it became undeniable. He wasn't just choosing her. He was giving her everything. Even the roof that raised him. Even the walls that held him. Even the home that kept him warm when life didn't. He whispered again, almost pleading. Please, Mama, don't make this ugly. I looked up at him slowly, tears finally slipping free. I'm not the one who made it ugly, I said. He froze. And in that moment I felt something inside me shift again. Not break, not fall apart, but wake up. A quiet, steady strength. The kind older women find when the world forgets how much fire they still hold. I folded the paper gently and placed it back on the table. Then I looked at him. Really looked at him. And said the words that left him pale. I'm not signing anything. The moment I said the words, I'm not signing anything, the room changed. It didn't shake or break. No one yelled. No doors slammed. But something shifted in my son's face. A flicker of frustration. A shadow of fear. And a sudden sharp edge I had never seen on him before. He leaned back slowly, his breathing uneven. Mama, don't do this! His voice wasn't soft anymore. Not pleading. Not gentle. Just tense. I kept my tone calm, steady, almost whisper soft. I'm not giving my home away. He ran a hand across his forehead, exhaling hard. Every second he didn't look at me told me more truth than his words ever could. "You're making this complicated," he muttered. "Why can't you just trust us?" I felt the sting, deep and quiet. "Trust?" I repeated. "Baby, how can I trust you when you planned all this behind my back?" He opened his mouth, closed it again, then finally spoke. "She said we needed to handle it privately. That if we told you early, you'd overthink it, panic, make emotional decisions." I stared at him, heart sinking further. "She thinks I'm emotional?" My voice broke just a little. "And you agreed?" He hesitated. That was enough. They didn't think I was emotional? They thought I was easy to manipulate. A woman who'd just sign. A mother who wouldn't fight back. A senior who'd get confused by paperwork. Someone who wouldn't know her rights. That was the betrayal behind the betrayal. He finally whispered, "We only want what's best for us." "There it is again," I cut in softly. "That word, us." He froze. "Where do I fit in that word now?" I asked. He looked down. Quiet. Guilty. Still not sorry. My hands trembled, not from weakness, but from holding too many years of love and disappointment all at once. "I raised you in this house," I said gently. "I worked 2 jobs to keep this roof over us. I went without meals so you could eat. Went without sleep so you could rest. Went without comfort so you could feel safe." He swallowed hard. "And now," I whispered, "you want me to leave it all behind so she can build her future in it?" He shook his head. "It's not just her," he insisted. "It's both of us. We need stability. And what about mine?" He blinked. "What about the stability I built with these hands?" I lifted them slowly. Hands lined with age. Hands full of history. What about the life I built here? The decades? The memories? The sacrifices? He didn't answer. He didn't have an answer. I felt my heart tighten, slow and painful. The kind of pain that doesn't show on the outside but hollows a person from within. Then he said something that sliced deeper than anything before it. "Mama, you don't need a house this big anymore. You're older now. You should be somewhere simpler, smaller, safer. Older, smaller. Should be." Each word landed like a quiet blow. "That's not concern," I said softly. "That's convenience." He flinched, but still didn't step back. Still didn't see me. Not the real me, just the version of me that fit into their plans. He tried again, voice growing impatient. "She already told her mother we're moving in. We painted the picture. We showed her photos of the house. She's excited. We can't back out now." I felt my heartbeat slow. "You told her mother?" I whispered. He nodded. So that was the truth. I wasn't part of a discussion. I was part of a schedule, an arrangement, a plan that was already in motion. I wasn't being asked. I was being informed. His voice softened, but not in the way that heals. In the way people soften when they want something. "Please, Mama. If you love me, sign the papers." My chest tightened. There it was. The oldest manipulation in the book. Weaponizing love. Slowly, painfully. I stood up. He watched me, confused. I walked to the window, looking out at the yard. The place where he took his first steps. The tree he climbed until he scraped both knees. The patch of ground where he buried his first little pet. Every inch of it was a memory he had forgotten. But I hadn't. I turned back to him. "If I sign those papers," I whispered, "I won't be signing a deed. I'll be signing away my worth. My place, my dignity." He looked frustrated. "You're overreacting." "No," I said calmly. "I'm remembering." He went still. I stepped closer, slow, steady. "You can take many things from a mother," I said. "You can take her time, her sleep, her comfort, her years." My voice deepened. "But you don't take her home. Not while she's still breathing in it." He looked stunned, like he didn't expect strength from a woman he had already counted out. I placed the papers back in his hands. "You brought these into my house. Now take them out of it." He didn't move. We stared at each other. A mother who gave everything, and a son who wanted more. His jaw tightened. "If you don't sign," she said, "we might have to take legal steps." My breath froze. He continued, voice low. She said you're not thinking clearly, and if something happens to you, the system will take the house anyway. She said it's logical. Logical. Not loving. Not kind. Not family. Something inside me, something old and strong, rose quietly. I stepped back, eyes steady. If she wants to take legal steps, I said softly, tell her she isn't the only one who knows how to protect her future. He frowned. What does that mean? It means, I answered, you forgot who raised you. A long silence followed. Heavy. Unforgiving. I pointed to the door. You can leave now. He hesitated, then gathered the papers and walked out. I didn't watch him go. Didn't call after him. Didn't ask him to stay. Instead, I sat down on my old couch. My home, my ground, my history, and whispered to myself, they think I'm alone. A slow breath. But they don't know what an older woman can do when her back is pushed against the wall. That was the rehook. The quiet rise before the storm. And it led straight into the next part of my journey. Not revenge, but smart action. I stood in the middle of the living room that night, holding the folder close to my chest. My hands were steady. My heart was not shaking anymore. The pain was still there. Deep, slow, heavy. But something stronger had finally woken up inside me. I had lived too many years to let two young, greedy hearts push me out of my own home. My son and his wife stood by the doorway. They were not scared. Not yet. The confrontation begins. My son crossed his arms. So, are you ready to sign? We don't want drama. Just do what we told you. His wife nodded with a small, cold smile. You'll be more comfortable in the back room anyway. It's better for you. I looked at both of them, slowly, letting my eyes rest on their faces one by one. Then I said, in the calmest voice I had left inside me, comfort is not your concern. Truth is, they looked at each other, confused. I placed my phone gently on the table. Its little red light was still glowing. My daughter-in-law stepped forward. What is that? I tapped the screen. The audio began to play. Their own voices filled the room. Make her sign. She's old, she won't fight back. We'll turn her room into storage. Once we get the property, everything will be ours. The color drained from their faces. I turned off the recording and looked at them again, slow, steady. You thought you were watching me? I raised the phone. I was watching you too. My first move. My son tried to speak, but his voice broke. You recorded us? I nodded. I recorded the truth. His wife stepped back, shaking her head. This is not fair. You're twisting things. No, I said softly. I'm protecting myself. Something you promised to do, but never did. I reached into my folder and placed another paper on the table. A legal notice. My son froze. You called a lawyer? I did, I answered quietly. Last night, when I realized your kindness was not kindness. It was preparation. The moment, everything shifted. The house was silent, heavy, almost breathing with us. I looked at them with the strength only age can give. Tomorrow morning, the police will be here. My daughter-in-law's hand flew to her mouth. My son took a step toward me, angry, scared, lost. You can't do this. I lifted my hand gently. I can, and I will. I walked toward the hallway, then paused and turned back to them. My voice was soft, but it carried weight. You betrayed me in my own home. Now the truth will walk through that same door and face you both. Then I walked away. Slow. Calm. Not broken. Not anymore. The morning came quiet and gray. I sat in my armchair by the window, hands folded, breathing slow. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't shaking. Age teaches you this. When the truth is finally on your side, your heart becomes still. I heard footsteps in the hallway, my son pacing, his wife whispering. Their fear was now louder than their voices had ever been. For the first time in a long time, the house felt like it belonged to me again. The knock on the door. At 9:14 a.m., the knocking came. Firm. Clear. Official. My son froze in the hallway. His wife grabbed his arm. I stood up slowly, my knees old, but my spirit standing tall. I opened the door. Two officers stood there, along with a woman in a gray suit. My attorney. "Good morning, ma'am," the officer said. "We're here about the report you filed." I nodded. "Please come inside." My voice was soft but steady. Years of motherhood had shaped it. Years of disappointment had sharpened it. The truth comes out. We all sat in the living room. My son tried to speak first. "Officer, it's all a misunderstanding." The attorney raised her hand calmly. "Let her speak. It's her home." Her home. Those two words felt like warm sunlight on my old skin. I placed my phone on the table. Pressed play. Their own voices filled the room again. The greed, the mocking, the plan. My son closed his eyes. His wife looked down at the floor. The attorney took notes. The officers listened quietly. When the recording ended, I took a slow breath and told them everything. How they tried to push me into the storage room. How they asked me to sign away the house. How they pressured me. How they twisted their tone every day. How their care was not care at all. I spoke gently. No anger, no shouting. Just truth, old, simple, and heavy. The legal protection. When I finished, the attorney turned to the officers. "She's requesting a protection order," she said, "and full rights to remain in her home without harassment." One officer nodded. "We can process that." My son's voice cracked. "Mom, please don't do this." I looked at him slowly. "You did this," I said. My voice didn't shake. Not even once. "You made me choose between losing my home or losing my dignity." His wife whispered, "We're sorry." I shook my head. Sorry after harm is not healing. It's fear. The attorney handed me papers to sign. I signed with a steady hand. For the first time in years, my signature felt powerful. The decision. The attorney looked at my son and his wife. "By law, you cannot pressure her for property again. You cannot move her. You cannot threaten her. If you do, you will be removed from this home." Silence filled the room. My son finally whispered, "Where do we go?" I looked down, my voice soft, almost mother-like, but tired. "That is something you should have thought about before you tried to push me out." A new piece. The officers left. The attorney left. The house went quiet again. But it was a different kind of quiet. Not lonely. Not sad. Safe. I walked back to my window, sat in my chair, and let the sunlight touch my hands. For the first time in a long time, I felt like myself again. I wasn't seeking revenge. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I was simply protecting the last years of my life. With truth, with calm, with wisdom. And that was enough. The days after the hearing felt gentle. Like warm tea in the morning. Like the slow hum of an old gospel song. The house was quiet again. But it wasn't an empty quiet. It was a peaceful one. A quiet that feels earned. My son and his wife moved out that same week. There was no shouting, no storm, no slammed doors, just silence, and the sound of choices catching up with them. I watched them from the porch as they carried out their last box. My heart didn't hate them. My heart didn't curse them. It simply whispered the truth. Love without respect is not love. The lesson life gave me. In the evenings, I sat in my rocking chair, hands folded, eyes half closed, breathing slow. People think age weakens you, but they don't understand. Age sharpens what truly matters. At my age, you don't need loud words. You don't need crowds. You don't need noise. You just need peace. Steady peace, the kind that settles into the bones and quiets the heart. And sometimes, to protect that peace, you must stand up, even when your knees hurt, even when your voice shakes a little, even when the ones hurting you carry your blood. A gentle message to whoever listens. If life teaches you anything, it's this. People show you who they are long before you are ready to believe them. Don't wait too long. Don't doubt your own tears. Don't silence your own trembling. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply say, no more. Not with anger, not with shouting, but with stillness, with truth, with dignity. The world may forget older women, but we don't forget ourselves. Not anymore. Finding peace again. One quiet afternoon, I stepped into the room they tried to push me into. That little back storage room, dusty boxes, old holiday lights, forgotten things. I stood there for a while, and then whispered, "This is not where my story ends." I closed the door gently and walked back toward the sunlight. My home felt warm again. My heart felt steady again. My spirit felt whole again. And as I sat by the window, a soft smile touched my face, because I finally understood. Strength isn't about fighting. Strength is about choosing peace, even when the world tries to pull it away from you. And I chose peace, slow, deep, and mine.